I feel like somebody's reaching out here for the insanity that is Raidraptors. Now, make sure you guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. I always love when you see a tier list out here, people talking about what they're expecting for a new meta. And you have some decent input, and then you always have some sort of craziness that comes along with it. And the craziness for this was, we're going to go through the entirety of this tier list and tear this apart and talk about what we agree, what we disagree with out here. So straight up here at the top, Tier 0 Raidraptors. Alright, I want to first preface this and go, Raidraptors had the littlest bit of success in the OCG. The littlest. You want to know why? Because fire is everywhere. If you are thinking that Raidraptors are about to be this crazy Tier 0 best deck in the room, it is not going to happen. Alright? I just want to say that, but Robbie, I get a rank 13 monster that just is basically unaffected by everything. Knock knock? Oh. Is that kaijus? Is that sphere mode? Is that lava golem? Anytime anything like this is going to develop, oh well, I can stop you. Your deck can Raidraptor lock you. Now, unless you're playing like this super turbo build out here, the Nibiru is going to come down from the sky and do its thing. And also, Droll Lockbird literally destroys this deck. Like, I don't know what people are thinking, especially, I think most competitive players agree that we're heading into a Droll Lockbird format. Droll Lockbird says no searching. Do I need to reiterate that to anybody else here? Like, did people forget what Droll Lockbird actually does? All right, like, I must have, my old ass must be forgetting what cards do out here, because back in my day, Droll sucked, but in the modern era, Droll is a free win. I would honestly say that I would put Raidraptor in the B category for this tier list. I think it's maybe even, probably C, actually. You have a very good, strong mid-range deck that can cover a lot of bases, but the surprise factor will be important for this deck's success. Now, let's go drop down to your S tier here. Fire Kings in the S tier. Anybody want to disagree post-Phantom Nightmare that Fire King does not feel like the best deck in the room? I'm waiting. Do. Okay, not a single soul out there. Oh, wait, there was the one guy that commented and told me that he beats Fire Kings every week at his locals with his Tier 3 different dimensional deck, but there's only one Fire King duelist at his locals in actuality. I know. But variance, alright, like, whew, strange. It's almost like, scary. But, like, the reality of the situation is, this is predicted to be the best deck, and I'm not really screaming too far away from that. I think that's fine. Now, following it up with Rescue Ace still being a very strong S tier deck, I think Rescue Ace will be a top contender. You've got to remember the set 4 is still incredibly strong, but you got to remember, I feel like the deck right next to it here, Fire Kings, knock knock, just does so much craziness in the meta that you're gonna have to adjust and go from there. So we'll have to wait and see. I think a lot of people are kinda a little bit all over the fence with this. And then we have Stovey and the squad. Well, here's the thing. I think the Labyrinth is also going to be very strong. I don't know if I put it all the way up here in S tier, but the deck has an incredible chance to do all of this crazy stuff. All right, transaction rollback. The problem is they do need the mask, but the deck is going to have to go through 2 iterations of evolution. One pre-Phantom Nightmare, one post-Phantom Nightmare. And a lot of people are going to be very shocked to see what goes on with that. Next up is Mana DM over here is your last S tier deck. As a Runic player, I don't know. Mana DM does not seem like a scary deck. Like, you just hand them a Lava Golem Sphere mode, and their day is done. All these end boards that these people keep looking at Manadium, they're like, oh my gosh, this deck has so many answers. I don't know. I think I'm jaded by how much anti-meta I've played and how crazy like the Manadium end boards look, but like they're like what, Napalosa, 2 to 3 negates, doesn't seem that scary. I don't know. Dropping down to A tier, I do agree that Snake Eyes will probably be an A tier deck. Snake Eyes is in an interesting position because a lot more people don't want to play that build, alright? Which is interesting because it does take a little bit more skill. Also, why play a deck that feels a little bit more inferior when you can just bump on up and go play full gas, Snake Eyes, Fire King good stuff. I think that's one big thing to consider out here is people want to play the best, and having to think and do slightly different things will be the downfall here to pushing Snake Eyes into that realm of questionability. Now, Aluber in A tier, branded. I don't know what to say about this. Aluber and friends can still do things. The deck has held on, but like the natural power creep cycle, every time a new deck comes in, we just watch him go slowly down the pipeline. Super Poly, I think, will be one of the strongest reasons allowing this deck to kind of still do something, but it's already struggling as it is. And to put it in A tier, of all things, that's a little bit questionative, but okay. Runic variants, yeah, this is fine. Alright, you have how many runic piles of variants out here at this point that players, you've got the Orcus variant, the Generator variant, the Bysteel variants, Runic Stun is still a functioning deck, you got the For Hire Sprite runic builds. It's 5 builds, and plus there's definitely more out there that are seeing play. All of these builds do the exact same thing. It's some sort of supplementary engine, alright, and that also includes the stun build, I'm going to say, because you're using stun cards to delay and slow down your opponent. Yeah, it's just, instead of me choosing to do combo, I'm choosing other degenerate methods of things in order to do so. Seems like a pretty standard day in the office with this, but runic variants, we remain good. Tier elements, I think with the Millers gone, and, the results that we just saw out of some of the more recent events where people are like, cope, it's not dead, it did well. It's here. People definitely are not prepared for tier right now. And also, if you're able to set up and play through the irregularly large boards that this deck tends to be able to make relatively consistently, I don't think you're going to have much of a problem. That's something that you need to consider too is, does the end board actually intimidate me enough that I'm not going to be able to do something? Okay, we'll move down to B tier here. Centurion. So, Calamity King Turbo 9000. Yeehaw, you impermed my Crimson Dragon. Uh-oh, I scoop now. Yeah, that feels pretty normal at this point. Anybody else want to disagree that that's the experience with the deck? Either you get Calamity locked or you don't get Calamity locked. Like, that's it. Purely, this feels a little bit low. They put it below Centurion. Yeah, I don't know, man. This deck is like still super scary. The consistency hurt a lot, but okay. And then we have Voiceless down here in the B tier. Wow. I think a lot of people are genuinely underestimating Voiceless for its TCG release. I think a lot of people are going to be genuinely shocked to see a Ritual deck do the thing. And then I'm going to have the commenters roll in here going, actually, I'll just thrust into the dimensional barrier, call Ritual, loser. Now what are you going to... Well, I mean, you got me. You got me. You beat my strategy. Good job, Duelist. I'm so proud of you. So, yeah. Raidraptor's not tier 0. That was the point of this. Decent tier list down here. Mine's a couple of hiccups, but alright. So leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace. Patrons! Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.